Tuning into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Originals, Season 2, Episode 4, Live or Let Die. I feel like it's a very simple answer. I'd rather live than let die. Live. Across the board, bunch of lives. I am your host tonight, Roxy Striar, alongside Katie Campbell.
Hi.
And Sam Davidson.
Hi, guys.
We're so happy to have you as our official guest fill-in host. We are very, very blessed tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm the biggest fan of this show, so you're lucky.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, I think you've given up a couple kids just to be...
Yeah, I haven't had them yet, but once I do, I'm giving them to AfterBuzz to be on the show.
We just love super fans like you, so thank you for coming on tonight. And of course, Tiana and Cortez will be back next week. If you guys want to keep in touch with them throughout the week, you can tweet at them in their Twitter handles that they have announced in previous shows. If I knew them, I would give them. I'll look them up in a little bit. But okay, let's get into tonight's episode. We are 4 episodes deep. We are excited about this season. It's going in a little bit of a weird direction that I wasn't expecting. What do we think overall of tonight's episode?
I enjoyed it.
Strong words, Katie Campbell.
I think it was my favorite of the season thus far, actually. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I like this episode the best.
Okay. I thought that it was really good, too, again, with the questions. I mean, I just feel as if I'm not getting many answers. I'm getting more and more questions. And every time something happens, I think, is that a plot hole or is it a loophole or are we coming back to this? And then we always seem to come back to it. Mm-hmm. But Katie, you were asking me some really great questions during the after show. Like, wait a second. There was one about whether the originals, if they're going to be able to live forever if they jump back and forth through the bodies. So what was that question? Because I'm trying to decipher and I don't know. Maybe everybody out there knows.
Well, I was just thinking that, Esther wants them to live a normal life. She wants to take away this abomination,
of vampires that she's caused.
Right. And I was thinking she was able to, put Finn and Cole into bodies, and she's jumping bodies, and I was wondering if potentially somehow they could kind of live forever through bodies, which I
mean, would that mean that they were becoming travelers?
That's what I was saying. I'm having a really hard time distinguishing what everybody is right now. So obviously we have the originals, Elijah and Klaus, who are still in their original form, but then we have Rebecca, who's I can't even call it MIA.
Comes back.
Oh, yeah. She will. She's got hope. She's got to come back. Mm-hmm. Pun intended. So we have them in their original form, but then we have Cole and Finn, who are now in witch form. But are they in traveler form or are they in witch form? Because now we have Esther, who has jumped from being Esther to being Cassie to being Lenore, and she, we would have to assume, is in traveler form because she originally was a traveler. Mm-hmm. So I just don't know what everybody is capable of.
Well, don't you think, I think, ever since we were introduced to the originals from the Vampire Diaries, no rules really apply to them. You can't kill them the normal way. They're magic, because, Esther is the most, powerful, magical witch there is. She's the original witch. So I just feel like rules don't really apply to them, and that's how this show kind of gets through some potholes, because that's enough for me that they're the originals, so they can just do whatever they want.
You chalk it up to that all the time, like, whatever, it's the originals. But it does make me wonder, what are they capable of, and what is it exactly? We still don't know exactly what Esther is trying to do. She's trying to wipe out the vampire form, but trade it with what? I know that on YouTube we had a lot. You guys are awesome. You've come through big time for us, giving us all of your predictions on YouTube and on iTunes. Keep it up. But you guys said that she wanted the originals to be witches, and some of you said that they wanted the originals to be humans. So I don't know what exactly she wants. We get a little more of it tonight's episode, but we can talk about that in a moment. Let's get right into We're calling it the Wolf War, which I don't even really know how we came up with that, but that's what it is, the Wolf War. We've got these wolves and these vampires. Sometimes they're working together and sometimes they're not. And no longer are the wolves all unified and the vampires all unified. There seems to be different subgroups in these groups, which makes it really hard to know who's on what side.
Well, then there's the hybrids.
Of course.
Which is confusing enough because which side are they supposed to be on?
Right.
We know that Oliver is, has a plan with Haley. He's helping her out. He's on her side. And then I think the reason Aiden did come to the vampires is because of his little brother.
Right.
Nick was in the group of kids.
Absolutely. But let's step back for a second and talk about Oliver. So season 1 Oliver is very different than season 2 Oliver so far. When we had season 1 Oliver, we had Oliver and Jackson. Now Jackson, hashtag where are you? He was with Oliver and he was supposed to be the alpha dog and he was supposed to be the good guy. And Oliver was always kind of like trying to one-up him and was being sneaky, and we saw him murder people. He had some really bad things to him. Now I don't know where Jackson is, and Oliver seems to be the alpha dog right alongside Aiden, supposedly tonight's episode. Do we feel like Aiden has taken Jackson's position, or what's going on there?
I have no idea. I mean, I think that he's very good looking. I like to put him in front of the camera as much as possible.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. There's no shortage of good looking humans on this show. Haley ceases to amaze me every single time I see him. She's just she's so drop dead gorgeous. She just is. Although sometimes I get worried she just might snap in half at any moment.
I went to the panel this year and I saw her, and she's very tiny.
She's a tiny being. The fact that we had the person who played Cassie come in and talk to us, and she was Natalie. She said that she's so small, so much smaller even in person. I was like, how is that possible? She's so little. And the fact that she would say that, she's a tiny human being also. But anyway, okay, so we've got this wolf war going on. It seems to me like Oliver is a good guy this season, and I'm trusting him a little more, especially after tonight's episode when we see him go all in. He says, I'm either in or I'm out. So he really does step up to the plate. But before we get there, we see the wolves come and they try to kick the vampires out. These vampires that they've already gotten out of the quarters and have moved outside, and now they want to move them where? Just out of New Orleans altogether, or what? What are they trying to do?
Well, they were stirring up something between them, because that's who Esther said she was going to go after next, is Marcel and the vampires. So they're just stirring up. I mean, they know they're not just going to get up and move farther away. They're going to come back and they're going to fight.
Right.
And her end game apparently was to get Elijah.
Yeah.
She wants to get Elijah, but she's doing that by going through Marcel. Marcel, who now has his own pseudo army.
Kind of awesome army, I think.
Totally. Gia's badass. I was so hesitant about her for the first episode, for the first 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden it just flipped. I don't even know what happened. I was like, wait, maybe I love this girl. I really don't know how it happened, but you remember, I was like, I don't know about her. And then all of a sudden I was like, she's my favorite. I love her. I think she's really cool. And guys, I got to know your opinion on this. There's a lot of Haley Elijah fans out there, and I just don't seem to be one of them. I could totally see Elijah with Gia romantically. What do you guys think?
I did in season 1. She's been so awful to him.
Right.
This season. I don't see it happening anytime soon. However, we do see scenes from next week where she gets very concerned about his whereabouts, which we will get to later. But I think that it'll come back around, but I think both of them probably need to have other relationships.
Okay.
I've always, wanted Haley and Elijah. They built me up for that, I feel, last season. But like you said, she's been horrible to him. She's different. She's a hybrid. She lost her baby.
Do we chalk it up to all those things? Do we think she's different because she was in transition, now she's a hybrid, she's mourning the loss of kind of loss of her child?
Yeah, but it makes me angry. The baby isn't dead, and she knows it's not dead. She needs to be grateful that they saved the baby.
Well, she's also thinking that Elijah's opinion has changed because of all these things that have happened to her.
What do you mean his opinion?
About, she's a hybrid now, and he said, I can't help you. My brother can help you.
Right.
And I think that we are going to see something happen with Elijah and Gia. There was a little bit of a thing going on there, but then
certainly a moment.
Right, there was a moment, but I agree with you that in time there will be an Elijah and Haley. It's just they're not planning on doing that for a while. I actually watched an interview with Julie Plec, and she said that for now, they're going to stray away from that because they're dealing with their own thing. Absolutely.
I could see why they would do that. I do think, though, that I agree with you, Sam. She should be grateful that her child is alive, but at the same time, not what difference does it make, but she doesn't get to hold her kid. She's missing all of this part of their life. So I do understand why she is mourning. Of course, it's a very difficult thing she's going through. If I were her, I feel like I would be trying to strategize how I could sneak out of town for a little bit to pop a visit into Rebecca, something like that. I know she doesn't want to risk it because nobody knows the baby's alive, but I would be spending all my time and energy and efforts on that as opposed to being really mean to the people that helped protect the kid.
Well, could it possibly be all a ruse, maybe, to make everybody think that the baby's dead? Because if the baby was not dead, even if she was relieved and happy, and she wouldn't, she's being nice. She would have been nice to everyone, a little more nice.
I could see that if it wasn't for the scenes that we saw with her and Klaus and her being like, I'm in pain, why aren't you in pain? Like basically shaking him, you know what I mean?
Well, she's going through two huge things, transitioning, she's being a hybrid and losing her child.
She's a little moody.
I think she's going to put the child over her, agony right now, because if this does get out that the child's alive, Esther's going to go after it. And the witches wanted to kill it.
Right. Okay. So we do find out that the wolves originally are on Team Esther, but then once they find out what Esther and more so seemingly Finn is trying to do.
Never liked him.
He's really, for lack of better words, I'm sorry, an asshole. He is really bad, guys. I mean, it's interesting because we see each of these originals as bad in their own ways, but I never looked at him as like the one that I really just wanted to sock in the face all of the time. And that's how I feel about him. What kind of a dude does this? I had a very wrong thing going on in my head. I thought that something was going on that wasn't. Katie started giggling at me as she corrected me. I originally thought that he was trying to get them to murder all the kids, and trying to get them to, and she was like, no, the kids need to murder so they can become wolves. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's a little better. I don't know.
I mean, remember, I think, it was still the Vampire Diaries. He just wanted to end. He wanted his life to be over, and that was it. And you kind of understood that. But now, I don't get it.
Yeah.
He's doing for his mom. He's always
Mama's
stood by
boy,
her.
get over it.
Yeah, but is he at this point? Because she's so mean to him too that I feel like there must be something that we're missing. There must be something he's getting out of this, some deal they've made or something going on that we haven't seen yet. Because why is he trying to get all of these? I mean, they look like they were between 6 and 12 years old to become these wolves and kill so that they can start being their wolves. Do you remember? We watched it way more on the Vampire Diaries, but how much pain we watched all of these people. I mean, we saw Tyler, we saw Haley, them turning and turning. It's agonizing. Why would you do that to these kids that are so young? People spend their whole lives trying not to invoke the curse. Like, what is he getting out of that? I just don't understand, other than making his own army.
I mean, when they turn at such a young age, I think, and get used to so much violence, it becomes who they are when they're so young. When you're a little older, I think people battle with killing, not killing, but when you're young and they just kind of wanted to breed them, which is weirdly kind of what Klaus wanted to do with hybrids, but it's not the same thing. I mean,
right. I understand taking control over your own destiny. It sounds like this tradition that we had. I was surprised it wasn't the name of the episode, the day that they all used to do this back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody remember what it was called? Oh, I'm sure I'll butcher it. It was Luna Sanguinis. Luna Sanguinis.
It's a blood moon.
Yeah.
Which we've had recently, actually. Yeah.
Ooh. Watch out for all those little wolves murdering. Oh, little wolf. I love it. Anyway, sorry. So we have this day, and I don't know. I just feel like this is a tradition that we need to die. It needs to go away. Again, I understand taking control over your own destiny, but they're way too young. Who are they going to murder? Who are they going to do? So finally, we see what happens, which is that Aiden this new wolf. By the way, I'm pretty sure he went to school with us, just FYI. Totally,
Really?
yeah, totally recognize him from some of my acting class. Yeah, totally went to SC, so shout out, fight
nice. Fight on, guys.
and good for him. He was on Devious Maids earlier this year, so this should be a good role. We see that he has a little brother named Nick, and that's why he is invested in this particular situation. Do we think that it would have been different if he didn't have a brother?
Yeah.
What would have happened? They just would have gone along with it?
I don't think he was happy about it in general, but the fact that his brother was in this little group of kids just put him over the edge.
Right.
Yes, I mean when he broke into Marcel's little party, like he gave him a warning. Which,
This is gonna be the last one you're gonna get.
I'm like, okay, Teach, but he probably could have killed them, and that's probably what she wanted him to do anyways. If it wasn't this thing, he probably would have stayed, being on the other side for a while, but at some point something would have happened that he wouldn't have agreed with, because I think that hopefully he's good.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. What do we know about him? So we know that he's on what's presumably some sort of Grindr app, and we know that he is flirting with our main man Josh, who, oh my God, I am so happy. I've been waiting for Josh to have a love interest this entire.
too.
Like, come on, dude. I love Josh so much.
He's so cute.
He's so adorable. He's so adorable. And he's just such a good dude, and he's Davina's person. And I just want him to be happy. So he finally does have a love interest. And he's like, I really crush on him. We've been chatting and all this stuff. And then we find out that it's Aiden, and his heart kind of sinks because he's like, oh no, this wolf who's trying to tear down the vampires. But then he comes around, and then they meet up and they have this date. So are we thinking that Aiden is playing Josh right now completely, or do we think he actually could be a good wolf?
I think he's a good wolf, and I think this is going to be a major storyline. I watched an interview with Julia Pleck where she said that Josh is going to find love, and that's going to be part of the show.
I wonder how this will incorporate with the rest of the show, though, because how could this affect the other characters? You know what I mean?
Undercover lovers for a while.
But why are they undercover?
Not because they're gay, but because they don't want people to know.
The alliance.
Yeah, it's like
they're
Romeo
undercover
and Juliet.
because one's a wolf, because they come
Yeah.
from two different packs.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, though, because you've got Haley, who's wolf, and all of her suitors are vampires, but I guess now she's a hybrid, so she kind of straddles the line. It happens, and I don't think that Josh is really the kind of guy who's going to want to keep anything a secret. I don't know enough about Aiden yet to know.
Okay, here's my one quick question, though, because on any kind of dating app, you see a picture, and he did say something that your pictures don't give you justice. So how did they not really know?
Well,
He definitely recognized him when he walked in.
Right, but Aiden, did he know the whole time about Josh? And then that when they came in and attacked, Josh almost got his neck snapped, and that's when he called it off.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they knew. They kind of had a look exchanged outside of the ambulance when they put the kids inside of it, that you could tell something was going on there.
Sparks were flying, baby. I like it. I'm definitely invested in this relationship, which is so interesting because it's only lasted for one episode, and I'm already more invested in it than I am with Haley and with Elijah. I'm sorry. That's just how it is right now. It's not that I even completely dislike them together. I just sometimes you see chemistry and sometimes you don't. But I do, going back to it, see a little bit of chemistry with Gia, and we had that moment, and she's learning to fight and pins against the wall, and Haley walks in, and she seemed a little jealous.
Yeah, you could
She
totally
should
see
be.
that.
Yeah, damn right.
Well, it's her
He's
fault.
a hottie.
It's her fault.
I know.
Yeah, for being such a major B. Okay, so then we develop this whole plan, and we sneak the kids away. We get them in the ambulance. People have all different legs of this race to get everybody safe and sound. Now, at what point was this plan going to go awry? Because clearly somewhere it was. Either A, all the kids were going to die somehow or something, or B, something unexpected, which is what happened, was going to happen. So, okay, Katie, I can tell your face now. What's up, girlfriend?
Well, I just want to say, to be honest, I thought this is too easy. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Because it can never be that easy with Esther. So she obviously had this other plan, because for them to all just get away and happy and nothing happened with them, something else is going
The
on.
woman has eyes everywhere.
Everywhere.
Literally.
She's freaking crazy.
This world, that world, a world we don't even know about, probably.
I know. It's insane. But I'm just curious what the purpose of all this is. So she does all this because she ends up she gets all the wolves because she wants Elijah. Yeah. So last week she took a little bit of a hands-off approach and she planted seeds with Elijah and with Klaus and also with Haley, I suppose, and then was like, okay, go free my children, go wander. This week was not so hands off. She kidnaps him, essentially. I thought some cool things happened. Number one, that Oliver had his back. Really liked that. Again, going back to me trusting Oliver a little more. Number two was the fact that we didn't know that this was coming, which was really interesting. But number three was I still don't know what it means to purify. Like, what? That was cool, but what are you doing? I mean, he's sitting there and she's purifying him. What's going on?
I think that it's a valid question.
Yeah.
But I think maybe by seeing the scenes from, for next week about her bringing back Tatya and those memories for him, I think she's going to purify him by bringing back all the pain that being a vampire has caused him.
So it's going to make him, she said a couple episodes, last episode, they're going to beg me to help them. They're going to beg me. So what she's trying to do is inflict so much pain on them that they actually don't want to be vampires anymore.
I'm thinking.
That's a good mom, guys. Parenthood of the, there we go, mom of the year.
But is she making them feel guilty? Or just literally the pain that they have felt over the centuries?
I feel like pain. Like literally just pain.
Yeah.
I mean, guilty would be one tactic to make them see all the people that they've eaten or turned or lives that they've messed up. But just to try to inflict that much pain on your own children, I don't know. That's what I'm kind of straying from her. Sometimes I get what she's doing, but sometimes, man, she just seems like, I don't know, really mean.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, too, because she's kind of lumping them all together as a whole. All of them are bad, and what they become is bad.
Yeah.
But you see, now Klaus has done some things that, are bad, but Elijah has usually...
Okay, putting it lightly.
Elijah's more in self-defense, and he has better intentions. So I just think it's interesting that she kind of lumps them all as in, it doesn't really matter what your intentions are. I don't want you to be...
I think what she might be trying to do is the same kind of cure situation that was in the Vampire Diaries. Turn them all into humans, and they will perhaps they'll be travelers, or they'll stay in their human form as they are, and just live out the next 70 years. And...
Are you talking about what happened with Catherine when she started going gray and the teeth were falling out, or?
No, actually. Well, I guess that is what the cure did. I'm thinking she perhaps has a better cure because she's the
so
main
like a
witch.
2.0 version of the cure.
Yeah, that lets you just live your life with like the age that you died.
Okay.
Just move forward at that age, no matter how long ago it was.
Huh. I don't see them going for that. No matter how much pain she's inflicting on them.
Yeah.
And Elijah's really strong. He's really strong, and I don't think he's going to fold that easily.
No.
I don't see this turning out very well for Esther, which is interesting because she does seem to have the power right now, but not for long. That's just my guess. I actually don't know, though. she could have the power for a very long time, quite frankly. Okay, so we talked about the wolves a little bit. Let's move on to Esther's other son, Klaus. All right, another relationship that I'm so about. Klaus and Cammy, guys. We almost get the makeout session. It's all over Twitter right now. People are freaking out. What's our initial reaction to this almost kiss?
I liked it. I told you there was something there.
You're seeing the sparks.
Clammy makes me clammy.
Dude.
I know a lot of people don't like it, but
most people do, though. In all fairness, there's a lot of support.
A lot of people, either, one way or the other. But I really like this because I think that it brings out something vulnerable in Klaus. Just like Caroline did. And, I was all for that too. But she's on Vampire Diaries right now. She's got her own thing going on with her feelings, and he's on this show, and he has his own thing. And I think what's beautiful about love is the fact that you become vulnerable, and I think there are sparks between them.
What's beautiful about love? Oh my gosh, I love you, Katie. That's so cute.
I did kind of just get the chills when you said that,
Yeah.
though. Maybe you're right.
I know. When she talks about it, I'm like, oh, I feel like such a bad person for not being on this team. Okay. No, here's the thing. I will mention it now. I will mention it next week. I will mention it every single episode until if they ever are together again. I don't care if some people get annoyed by it. I don't care. I am Team Caroline till I die. I always will be. I love Caroline. I can't get enough. And because they introduced that coming over from Vampire Diaries, I will not be able to get over it. So they really set me up to fail here with Cammie, because I think Cammie could have been anybody. And I would have hated what she represented. You know what I mean? So I don't know how to move past that. I really don't know.
She looks like Caroline's older sister. I mean,
Is that how I'm supposed to get on board?
I mean, maybe the producer's like, listen, we're going to cast this beautiful, very talented actress that looks like she could be Caroline's older sister.
Happens to be blonde and look a little like Caroline.
And he's going to fall for her and the audience is going to love it. I agree. I think she's way too good for Klaus, way too good of a person.
Yeah, I mean, I also, in an interview with Julie Black,
What do you do on your free time?
I was watching these, but
Obsessed.
she was saying that there are no plans for the Caroline Klaus thing.
She's been saying that for a very long time. From the second that happened, that kiss against the tree. Oh,
It's
my
more than a
God.
kiss.
Yeah. That was my PG version of it. Since that happened, she said the very next day, that's what you're getting, guys. So I hope that's enough for you Clarolines, because that's what you're getting. I don't know, though. I think, here's what I really believe, that networks like this and fans like this who always tweet out, who YouTube, who do everything, I think that we have the power. I really do. I think they listen to us. I'm not kidding. I know that actually, they just listen to me. I say things and then they're on TV. No, they listen to everybody. I really think so. So that's why I like when people fight for what they actually want to see on a show. So I'm going to fight for it. But I understand that you will be fighting for Clammy, which is not as good of a hashtag, but okay. But I will say, I liked it a little more in this episode. What I do like, and the word you touched upon, is the vulnerability. Mm-hmm. I like the vulnerability. I thought it was really interesting that Klaus got that close to somebody only to run.
Mm-hmm. Well, her words did mean something to him, though, because of his actions of what he did and didn't do to Michael. Mm-hmm. He took care of the situation in his mind, although we learned something else later on. But he didn't fully kill him, and he said that was because of what she said to him.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the scene, one of the opening scenes of her and her therapist, she had this beautiful monologue, and everything she said, and then when she started talking about Klaus, it was so interesting to see how she really felt about him.
It was really interesting. And also bizarre that Marcel and Klaus were lumped in so closely to each other, and how she described them both. So she called herself Marcel's rebound girl.
I disagree with
which
that.
I really didn't think was fair to herself. I didn't think that was fair. I don't feel like she was the rebound girl.
He was obsessed with her. He really cared for her.
And then she broke it off with him.
Yeah.
I think that he would still want to be with her. And I honestly don't dislike that relationship as much.
Me either. I like that better.
Me too. No. Oh, you're not as into... Oh,
you're alone here.
And then we see that she talks about Klaus, and it almost seemed like a nostalgic, maybe could have one time in a different life been.
Where he didn't kill a million people, and she's an extremely good person.
Right. What is the point of these therapy sessions? It seemed to me almost like she was going to try to become a therapist. Obviously, he's trying to get all the secrets out of her. I'm not really sure what angle he's pulling here. But what do you guys think's going on? They're setting us up for something. What is that something?
Well, was she not in school or yeah, she was in school for psychology. So perhaps that would make sense, because psychologists
it seems like so long ago.
Yeah. have to have their own psychologist. That's what I mean, I've seen too many movies probably, but you know.
So that they learn from that angle as well.
Mm-hmm. And they also have to have an outlet as well for themselves.
She's been through a lot, and she was touching on that in her monologue, all these negative things in her life, so I think that she would want to talk to somebody. She has no idea who he is.
So we're going to see this week in, week out, we think? It will be a little bit of every single episode to come?
I hope so. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that it was funny though that we didn't see Cammie for the last 2 weeks, and they plopped her back in, and I was kind of like waiting for a I've been on vacation in Italy kind of line, you know what I mean? Like, girlfriend, where you been?
She was mourning.
Yeah,
Or in a psych ward. Maybe this is like her after treatment. We don't know.
this is outpatient. Totally. I think we just solved it. Okay, so we almost had the kiss, and then he goes, and then she comes, and she says, no matter what, don't hurt Davina. And he says, okay. He says that she has his word. Now, is he doing that because he loves Cammie? Or is he doing that because he's grown some sort of fondness for Davina? Or what's the purpose of that very, very brief conversation? And then hug. Adorable.
I think it's for Cammie.
Yeah, mostly Cammie, a little bit Marcel in the back of his head still.
Oh, that's true, too. Because Marcel has a soft spot for Davina, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Marcel is like Klaus's child in a way, and Davina is
his brother's son.
Yes, his brother's son, and Davina is, you know, in a way like Marcel's like little daughter or sister.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think it has to do a lot with Cammie, and you know, when everything was happening, I'm not sure if it was last episode or the episode before, with her uncle, and he was staying by her side. Kiernan. Yeah, he was staying by Cammie's side. Even though Haley was like, I need you right now over the phone. And he said, okay, I'll be there. Because he's going to be there for the baby. Or this was, you know, back a while now.
Seasons, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she said, can you stay a little longer? And he said, okay. He obviously will do for Cammie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We've seen him prove that time and time again. Mm-hmm. But I do think that Davina represents an interesting thing on the show to us. She's this innocent. She's somebody whose powers have come on so strong, so quickly, so young. And I think that a lot of people are developing soft spots for her for one reason or another. Somebody who may not be developing this soft spot is Caleb, who is obviously Cole, who is really, really using Davina. And I'm starting to get incredibly nervous because I don't know what their hashtag is, but I'm on their team. I want them to be a couple. I want Caleb to turn his ways around and love Davina. And when he was putting it on her foot and he goes there and all that, I see it. I see the romance.
I second that 110%.
What's going on? I feel like there's actually something there. Either he's the best actor of all time. I'm not talking about the actual actor. I'm talking about the character as an actor. Yes. Or there's something actually happening.
I think he cares about her, don't you?
I really do. But am I a sucker like she is?
I don't know. I tend
I'm a total sucker.
But
Katie's not a sucker. You tell us, girl.
I don't know. I mean, I really haven't formed an opinion, I guess, about that yet, because I just keep thinking that he's trying to get the answers out of Davina.
Yeah.
You know, and earn her trust, because he stood her up a couple times, so that obviously, you know.
Maybe because he felt guilty about what he was doing.
But he
playing
wants
both sides.
He wants to know what she was doing when he was looking at all those things that she had set up, and then she kind of was hesitant to tell him. He's like, okay, you know, I see you don't trust me, but he says, tell me whenever you're ready, so that can get, you know.
It's because he's a smooth talker, though. You know, he knows how to play women. He's always been great with women, so he knows what to say. I would love to see a storyline here where he is playing her, but he actually develops feelings for her. She finds out at first she won't be with him, but then eventually they end up together, something like that. And I just wrote the rest of the season for their relationship. Okay, so that's pretty much what's going on with them. Then he starts doing some witch stuff with her. He finds the white oak stake while she's asleep. I have a theory that what he rubbed on her foot actually made her pass out so that he could go look for the white oak stake. He finds it. Michael finds him find it. Michael doesn't know that it's actually Cole. They make this deal. Caleb says, as long as you promise not to hurt me with it, which is definitely going to come out because obviously Caleb knows who Michael is. And then every push comes to shove and Klaus comes and there's this big thing. He throws the stick through the window. He knocks Davina out. That poor freaking girl. She's always on the ground getting knocked out by somebody. And then we come to, my opinion, the moment of the episode, which is the Klaus-Michael battle. I mean, can it get any cooler than this, guys? Seriously, I can't even believe that they shot this. I'm like, what's going on? Everything is like jumping this and that, and I'm seeing their face. I thought it was amazing. What do you guys think of this season? Of the scene so far. No, of the scene between Klaus and Michael.
I liked it. I mean, I think that we were expecting it. Something's going to happen. Something big's going to happen. There's a lot of tension with them going back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I expected it as well.
Yeah.
I liked it. I loved it. I thought it was beautiful.
I always find it interesting when he says, hello, boy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wrote that down too. It's like such a jab.
Yeah.
Such a jab. He's been so cruel to Klaus, and it makes every time I see them together, I remember why Klaus is the way he is. And then there's that line earlier with Michael and Elijah, and they both said that same line about being prepared or whatever, standing your guard. Step one. I wrote it down.
The first thing is always be on your guard.
Be on your guard, exactly.
So you know that he learned from his father.
Right. So Michael is really intense. We see this with Klaus. He's out to kill. He's not messing around. He's trying to white oak him. Klaus is outsmarting him a little bit by having Papa Tunde, cool throwback to Papa Tunde's, that really painful dagger knife that he has. He stabs it into his dad, thinking that this will incapacitate him. But then we find out finally, really this entire episode was alluding to the fact that Michael can overcome pain that other people can't. Like when he's talking to Davina saying, get up, pain's all in your mind. That's the enemy's way of getting to you, all of those things. Michael takes the damn thing and pulls it out of himself.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. We have not seen that before.
No.
I mean, you might have seen the fight coming, but you couldn't have seen this coming.
No.
That was crazy. In the back of a trunk. It was like a weird scene from a different kind of show. I felt like him being in the back of a trunk. I feel like we don't really usually see these vampires or originals in the back of the trunk, but he's in there, he pulls it out. I'm worried now. What the hell is he gonna do?
I don't know.
God, I mean, I don't even know, but all I know is that I'm very confused about why him and Esther potentially they both kind of want the same. We don't really know what Esther wants, that's a problem, but they both hate their children.
Well, Esther seems to think she doesn't hate her children. Esther thinks she loves her children.
And this is why she's doing it.
And this is why she's doing it. Michael outright hates Klaus. Michael, his opinion on the rest of his children is kind of up in the air. Klaus has always been the bastard son. He's hated Klaus. I think he hates the other kids especially Elijah, for teaming up with Klaus and Rebecca. But we don't really know. And again, we don't know where he stands with them. We don't really know where he stands with Esther. We know that she did cheat and there was all of that. But I wonder, we're going to see a reunion between the two of them at some point. What that's going to look like, I really don't know. But I think that brings us to some predictions. Okay, so let's get right started into those. Thank you, Nando.
Now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
All right, guys. We really, as this show tends to do, don't see much next week in the previews. What we do know, and we have known all season long, it's been teased and teased, Nina Dobrev is coming over to the originals! Okay, she's coming over as Tatia. So now we see why she's coming over as Tatia. She's coming back in Elijah's flashback pain form. Oof. I mean, we're loving the flashbacks on the show. We've talked about it time and time again. We're about to get some more. What are we thinking about Tatia? Are we excited to see her?
I am. I'm very excited to see her. I think it's going to be a tragic story, though, and that's what Esther's trying to pull out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
not going to be fun, but I also, very badly, though, as much as I love the flashbacks, I like to see the characters in present day. I would love to see Nina Dobrev play somehow Tatia coming back in present day. It's not going to happen.
Or even come over as Elena at some point.
Yeah, any one of her bajillion characters.
Yeah, she's got a lot. She's got enough to choose from for sure. Catherine's back. No, I wish. I do wish. But I do think it would be great to see her. I want to hear the backstory. We haven't gotten that much. She's been mentioned time to time, and we we know that it's an issue with Klaus and with Elijah, so pain there, something going on. That's really all we saw. Do you guys have any of your own predictions that we have conjured up in our brains based on tonight's episode or the season so far?
I hope for more Cammy monologues.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, just some. I mean, Haley kind of hasn't been around that much either. She's kind of just been popping in, saying her mean things and leaving. So I would like to see more of her. I think we will. And I think that you're right in that she's going to want to see her child. If Rebecca comes, or she might come, or Haley's going to go to her.
Okay, cool.
I think we're going to see more of Josh and Aiden, and I also think we're going to see more of Cammy and Klaus. And I also think that Michael and Esther will finally meet, and I wonder if their meeting is going to have something to do with Elijah breaking free from her. I'm not really exactly sure on that. I know Julie Plec in one of the interviews that I watched also said that we're going to get to see so many interviews. We're going to get to see Esther and Michael's love story back in the day, which I'm very interested in seeing that.
I also read a little bit about that, and based on that, I actually think that their interaction now, although they seemingly want similar things, really they want absolutely different things, and they're going to go head to head. And maybe one of the parents ends up teaming with the kids to take down the other. Ooh. Or maybe not. Anyway, that's my prediction for the night. Guys, if we are freaking out throughout the week and we really want to talk to you, where can we find you guys on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43 and online at SamDavidsonEntertainment.com.
You can find me on Twitter at Katie Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's, and Instagram at KatieCampbell13.
And you guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar. You can find us at AfterBuzz TV, AfterBuzzTV.com. Go to iTunes, go to YouTube, rate, comment, subscribe. We read everything you say. We write back to you guys. We love you guys. You're the absolute best. Until next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.